Okay.
So the true order of God is God, Christ, man, woman, children, right?
Right.
You know, but the Jews don't have Christ. They don't believe in Christ, so they're not following the order of God. So, what's I mean, how is that? How are we, as a Christian, how can you support another group that doesn't believe in the Christ, in Christ?
Amazing. I love that statement. I heard it so much, it made me dizzy. It made my hair grow into an afro. The young man in the brown want to respond, and then hate want to respond. Yes.
Radical. That was a radical statement you just made. Now, so his question is, how do you support it if they don't have the order of Christ?
He said they don't believe in Christ. How do you support the Jews? No, they don't believe in Christ.
Well, you don't have to necessarily support just blanketed anything that someone does just because of their identity. But what you do is you walk in love and you treat people the same. So that's when your love will show out of that, instead of just having an identity. Or I do this with the blacks, or I just do this with the Jews and with the Asians. So you just walk in love with all people.
Hate, you want to respond to that?
Sure.
And then I'll take your comment, but we want to get this cleared up because I hear it a lot.
Yeah, you love them anyway. I mean, you're supposed to. Most of us Christians don't even believe in Christ, really. And when we do, it's fake. It's maybe even worse than outright being denigrating to Christ, to be honest.
That statement, with all due respect, because I heard something, is one of the dumbest statements I ever heard. Ever since I've been on this side of heaven. How do you love the Jews? They don't believe in Christ. How did it come out your head? Christ came for all that will receive him, and there were some Jews who received him. And any Christian asked that question, as hate, and you said, they have no love. God said to love even your enemy. And how will the Jews that don't know Christ ever find Christ if you're going to make a judgment of it? And where is the love in that? Christ loved you and you ain't no good. But he loved you. Just think about that. Christ sent his son, and his son was a Jew, and we ain't no Jew. And his son suffered for us all. What would you think the son would have said, the father would have said to, Father, why are you sending me down there for them? They ain't no Jew. Those ain't no Jew. Those are Muslims and Catholics and heathens, and God would have smacked Christ.
Gentile.
You love all, and it ain't based on nothing about them. It's about you. Because you represent the Father, and the Father is love, and you're supposed to be the light of the earth so that the darkness, the ones that are in the darkness, can find their way. I even hear other people say, well, the Jew, we got to go after the Jew because they didn't like Christ. That's so dumb to me. How you say stuff like that and call yourself a Christian? Who are you that you have a right to dislike somebody because they want to accept Christ? Do you think Christ cared that he wasn't accepted by them? Whomever rejected him? Christ and God doesn't give that. This morning, hold on, what they had cafe mocha, and they went and had the egg bites today. They haven't thought one time who liked them or who don't like whom. They don't care about that. Why should you care? It's your job as children of the Father to love them. It's not their job to love you or me. That makes sense? Yes, sir.
Yeah, so Isn't that the same as saying, oh, all these migrants are coming over for a better life? Let them do. So what I'm trying to say is like the comparison. This country supposedly we're a Christian nation, right? It doesn't seem like it, but we are a Christian nation in theory, right?
No, we're not.
We're not? Well, what is in our money? It says, "In God we trust."
Because that's what we was.
We were at one point, right?
Right.
Okay, but we're fighting for Israel, for the Jews. We're not fighting it for the Christians. Like, so, I mean, how is that? We're fighting the Muslims to protect the Jews, but the Jews aren't protecting us. So how?
I don't even understand what you just said.
Like,
at one time, maybe you don't know. At one time.
yeah.
Now, again, the government is all involved, so it's a
Yeah,
mess.
yeah, it's political.
Right.
Yeah.
So that part is now. But at one time, when Jews and Christians loved one another, Israel was known as our allies over there. They'll look out for us and we'll look out for them. Now, all this other mess that got involved has happened over time because the government has got, I know, we got to have lunch. The government's involved. So I don't want to get into all that.
Yeah.
My point
Next
is
week.
that we should love one another as children of the Father. All right?
Yeah.
So I don't want to get into
Next
all that.
week or next time or whatever.
Yeah, because you got all that mess.